With the power of movie magic, it appears as if I've already opened my can of Zero Sugar Dr. Pepper, but as you can see here, I haven't. Hi, I'm Aeon from Aeon Franco Fitness, and from now on, I promise that there will be no more movie magic-like tricks. Every single can that I open on screen at the beginning of my videos will be genuine. So today we're diving into a debate that has gone on since before any of us were born and will surely outlive us all. That's right, baby. I'm talking about the free weights versus isolation machines debate. So today I'm going to be listing out some pros and cons of both at the same time, and then give my general thoughts on the debate. To kick off the free weight section of the video, I want to dispel the rumor that free weight exercises are more intense or hardcore than isolation machines. I believe that the term intense, and especially hardcore, is kind of just only for the ego. You can easily take an isolation machine until failure, and actually it's probably safer to do that. Like, sure, a video of a guy struggling at the bottom of a 400-pound squat may seem like he's outputting a lot of work into one singular rep, and it is, but it doesn't discredit the people who do like 4 sets of 12 for calf raises. What we're looking for is effective training, and that doesn't have to be done by squatting 400 plus pounds. Whatever your reason for working out is, I suggest an integrated approach, meaning we train all of the things that's on screen here now. Go ahead. Soak it up. It's only be on the screen for a couple more seconds. All right, take it down. With all of that in mind, let's start listing out the pros and cons of free weights as opposed to isolation machines. Now, there is no calf raise or seated overhead press section of any competitions that you're going to be in. No powerlifting or CrossFit competition is going to see who can preacher curl the most. And the reason for this actually kind of bleeds into the next item that I have on the list, so we're going to go ahead and talk about that. So by utilizing stabilizer or tonic muscles, the things that during some compound movements, their only job for those muscles, like your erector spinae muscles, are just to keep your back in place, right? Like, you're using more work per rep by doing those. What I mean by this is that you can do more reps on isolation machines because you're not using the stabilizer or tonic muscles and they're not fatiguing at all, they're not being challenged. On isolation machines, you're typically sitting down, or you may even just be lying on your stomach. Remember that I don't like using the word intense or hardcore to describe the differences between the two? Well, forget about that part. I didn't say it. Obviously, a clean and jerk is going to be more physically demanding than the hip adductor machine. You don't need stabilizer muscles in your legs to balance yourself when you're on the hip adductor machine, but if you don't have balance when you're on the front squat portion of a clean and jerk, you're going to die. You're gonna die. It will be painful, and yes, this is listed as an advantage. Anywhere on this hell site, you will see videos with titles like 25 best dumbbell exercises, or add these 5 workouts to your exercise routine so you can build up the fucking detail of your Snickers-esque dick vein. That's because you can do almost anything with a free weight. Whether it's a dumbbell or a kettlebell or a barbell, you can swing that thing in almost any plane of motion pretty much however you want. And some fucking dumbass on this site is gonna back you up like, keep it up, king. Get you perfect. Yeah, your back's supposed to look like that. Meanwhile, if you do something that you're not supposed to do on an isolation machine in a gym, you're gonna get put on a Planet Fitness cringe compilation. What I am trying to convey here is that free weights have a versatility when it comes to workout equipment that is completely unparalleled. If you think that we have run out of ways to swing a kettlebell, you are dead wrong. Hell, I might even invent the next big kettlebell movement, and in 30 years, you'll see why Aeon's asshole atomizer is ruining people's backs or their assholes, and you can reference this video and see that it started here. All right, plain and simple, we're just gonna jump right into the isolation machine thing. They're safer. The asshole atomizer doesn't work on an isolation machine. There is no asshole atomizer isolation machine. Like, I don't think we have to talk about safety. We all know what happens if you fail a clean and jerk. You die. And we all know what happens if you get your asshole atomized. If you fail on the hip adductor though, your legs just go back to the starting position. That being said, doing heavy loads or having higher rates of perceived exertion on isolation machines isn't always the best thing because the ranges of motion are set up for particular people. What I mean is, you know, all those settings where you can adjust where the seat is located or at what angle you have to bend your arms at or whatever, all of those measurements, while they can fit a lot of different body types, they're not made for everybody. Even if an isolation machine is fit for you, like it's a perfect match, you're like, this feels comfortable, we know that certain machines, like the prone hamstring curl or lying hamstring curl, are bad for your knees and your lower back because of the position that you have to put them in order to produce force on the heads of your hamstrings. Just because they can be safer or usually safer does not mean that they are free of risk. Hell, 2 of my worst back injuries are from using isolation machines. The first one being an overhead press incident that I had when I was working out at UFit. There was some doofus doing barbell curls in the squat rack during peak hours, and instead of waiting behind the line of 3 people all wanting to do barbell curls in the squat rack behind him, I decided to hop on the overhead press isolation machine that was right next to it, and my arms went up and they locked in place, and I had the thought to myself, if I lower this thing, I'm gonna hurt myself even more, so I just dropped it. Bad idea. I had my acromion process of my scapula kind of like pop out, and I had to get some injections for it and take like 6 weeks off, so don't recommend it. My other injury from an isolation machine is actually why I made this video, because a little bit over a week ago, I was working with a good friend of mine, and we just threw in calf raises last minute. There was somebody, you know, using the squat rack again. So we went to the isolation machine for calf raises, and it wasn't set at the right height. It had something wrong with it. I really don't even know what it was because it was at the end of this workout. My brain was completely fried. And I just got on it and started doing my normal weights for it. And I just put pressure on my back the wrong way, and I loaded my spine incorrectly, and now I'm getting my back checked out next week. I also got all of these like bruises over my shoulders where I bruise pretty easily, right? Like if I'm doing some heavy squats, I always get the marks and lines across my back. But these were like it was not good. So to kind of recap this point, when you're using isolation machines at normal loads, normal exertion levels, you're usually fine. Not to mention that no one's ever thrown an isolation machine at a mirror like people do dumbbells. So this one's pretty simple. It's in the name, guys. Come on, isolation machine. It's good for isolating certain muscle groups. Why do you think I was doing calf raises? It's because leg press and squats don't target my calves as much as I'd like them to. With equipment like cables and other isolation machines that are stationary, you're able to even hit specific heads of specific muscles. Do you want to hit the lower fibers of your pec minor muscle to make your chest look bigger? Sure, you can do that in an isolation machine or a cable. You want to hit the long head of the tricep while you're standing up? Sure, you can do that. Actually, damn, I can only think of a couple of other standing exercises that don't use cables or isolation machines that can target the long head of your triceps while you're standing. My point is that they better address certain imbalances and weaknesses because you can focus on them. Meanwhile, with the asshole atomizer, I'm just trying not to get my asshole atomized. I know this is gonna sound very, centrist, but personally, I use free weights and isolation machines in my programming. Usually I start out my resistance sections of the workouts with my compound lifts, stuff with barbells, and then I switch over to free weights and isolation machines in order to hit and focus on some of the muscle groups I feel need to be targeted more, or I don't feel got targeted enough. I know I listed out a bunch of pros and cons in both, and it seemed like I was going to pick one over the other, but honestly, they both have their place in structured regimens, and both carry a lot of risks. If you're exercising improperly, you could easily hurt yourself no matter what machine or equipment you're using. So if you want help learning how to exercise, you can contact me at my email, which you can find in the description. Since I am horrible with outros, I would like to leave you with a piece of advice. When you're doing calf raises with a barbell, use something to stand on that allows your heels to sink down for a larger range of motion. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.